Hi and welcome to the Communications Department here at the FBU head office for another video update at what is really a crucial time for firefighters. We're joined once again by the FBU General Secretary, Matt Wrack. Matt, a general election approaching, but as of the 1st of April, the new pension scheme for firefighters has been basically imposed. What does this mean for our members and what's the status of what's been a very strong dispute?
Yeah, the scheme has been imposed in April, and it's an outrage, isn't it, really, that despite all the campaigning, despite the fact that the government have no evidence at all to support their changes that they've imposed, they have used their political majority in the House of Commons to force that through. We've been clear throughout this that this is a political campaign. It's a political campaign with legal aspects to it, with industrial aspects to it, but we had to try and embark on that political campaign to change government's opinion, to change their position, and that remains the case. So the fact is the campaign continues. We've been very clear with the current government and with anyone who might form the next government that our campaign on pensions continues. Our dispute is live and our campaign continues.
I think the question firefighters will be asking, our pension scheme's gone through Parliament. I mean, can it be changed? And is there any indication that it will be?
Yeah, I think that's an important point. It's important that members understand, realise that actually pensions change all the time. There's changes to the pension regulations all the time. So this scheme has been imposed, but that does not prevent a future government making further changes and improvements to it, potentially. And that's what we've now got to discuss. We're discussing that with our lawyers. We've also started to discuss that with politicians. In terms of the main parties, let's be clear, I think the Tories are very clearly committed to maintaining this attack. We have got dialogue with the Labour Party. People will have seen the letter that Lynn Brown sent to us a couple of weeks ago, where she set out some of the areas that Labour are willing to discuss, for example, if they formed a government. Now that doesn't give us everything we want, and I don't want to spread any illusions in that. We need to go in this and have a balanced assessment of what the different parties are saying, including what the Labour Party are saying, but it clearly gives us an opportunity to put pressure on a potential future government to make improvements to pensions.
Now, Mark, pension schemes are complicated at the best of times, but now we've a new in place. We've got numerous pension schemes in the fire and rescue service, some firefighters protected, some firefighters in tapered protection. Firefighters are crying out for information about what this actually means for them. What can the union do to assist?
Well, I think the first thing to say is I find it outrageous the way central government have dealt with this. They've imposed this scheme. It's not a scheme we wanted. It's not a scheme pension scheme members wanted. They've imposed it on us. And they're the people who then set up the regulations, and the employers are the people who take the money off our members. Out of everybody's salary every month, pensions are deducted. So there's clearly a responsibility on the government and the employers to provide that information. It's their scheme, it's not our scheme. And I think members have the right to demand of government and of their employer answers to those detailed questions. Nevertheless, in the circumstances that we're actually facing, we are trying to provide as much information as we can. So we have issued a whole number of circulars, briefings on this, and on the union's website there's a lot of information, including a number of PowerPoints which go through in some detail some of the detailed questions that people have sent in to us, and we then try to answer through those PowerPoints and other briefings. So there's a lot of information available. People should also ask those questions of their local employers who are responsible for administering the pensions at local level.
Mark, the general election is now approaching very quickly. Political parties are publishing their manifestos, one of which, the Conservative manifesto, you've made a very strong comment on. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, I mean, there's a link here with the pensions campaign, but also with our other campaigns, the attacks on jobs that we're facing, the threat, to be honest, to destroy the fire and rescue service in the future. And the biggest obstacle to that is firefighters on the ground and the campaigns that they launch through their union, the Fire Brigades Union. And I think it's absolutely clear, we've got a whole number of publications and comments that the Conservative Party unfortunately see firefighters as an obstacle and see the Fire Brigades Union as an obstacle to what they want to do to the fire and rescue service. So they've launched their manifesto. In that it threatens further restrictions on the right of workers to take industrial action, and within that there's a particular attack on certain groups of workers, which is health, education and the fire and rescue service. So the Fire Brigades Union is clearly in the spotlight in terms of attacks from a future Conservative government. And I think people have got to ask themselves, why would they do that? Why would they want to further restrict people's right to campaign and take industrial action? It can only be for one thing. They've got further plans to make even further attacks on us should they be re-elected. That is a very major threat to us, to the living standards, conditions of service of every single firefighter in the country, and indeed of millions of other workers. And that's how serious this election campaign is. So I think there's a link between pensions, cuts, jobs and conditions of service that people have got to think very carefully over the coming weeks.
Matt, thanks. Remember, these video updates are just one part of the union's communication strategy to members. For the majority of information, please go to the union's website, which is on www.fbu.org.uk, or for quick updates, follow us at the Twitter account, which is at FBU National. For direct updates from the General Secretary, you can follow Matt directly on Twitter, and that's at Matt Wrack. Until the next time, Matt, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, Tom.
There's power in a factory, power in the land, power in the hand of the worker. But it all amounts to nothing if together we don't stand there.